Donald Trump must have received some pretty unfavorable news over the weekend because he was a bit more unhinged than he usually is. But if you end up getting anything out of this video, please remember to hit that subscribe button. I am trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. Now, this has been an ongoing trend for Donald Trump. Anytime he gets bad polling data, he just exudes his anger at his rallies. And over this weekend, Donald Trump was particularly unhinged. So let's go ahead and take a look at Donald Trump from his rally in Lititz, Pennsylvania this weekend. And we'll kick things off by Donald Trump just dropping in profanity here and there. Kind of sounds a bit weird.
And paper ballots, you'd have the answer by 9 o'clock tonight. It's a damn shame. And I'm the only one that talks about it because everyone's afraid to damn talk about it. And then they accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. These are conspiracy, and they want to lock you up. They want to put you in jail. The ones that should be locked up are the ones that cheat on these horrible elections that we go through in our country. And I don't know what's going to happen, but for future elections, I won't be even a part of it. But you ought to damn well go to paper ballots. You ought to go to voter ID. And you ought to have the election over by 9 o'clock. I'm hearing now they're going to take weeks. Can you imagine? They spend all this money on machines, and they're going to say, we may take an extra 12 days to determine. And what do you think happens during that 12 days?
So obviously, Donald Trump is big mad. He is dropping in profanity where it doesn't belong. Nobody wants to damn talk about it. Is that really how that's supposed to be used, Donnie? Okay. And obviously, he is mad that some polling data came out that was favorable to Kamala Harris, but he keeps on pushing these ideas that somehow this election is not going to be on the up and up. And he continues and continues and continues to do this, and we need to be prepared for it come election day. Let's go ahead and move on to Donald Trump continuing to talk about cheating during the election, and then he does something weird. He calls the journalists bloodsuckers.
The whole world is laughing at us. They're laughing at us. You know what? And if nothing comes out of this whole thing, it's going to teach you damn well better get a different system. And these bloodsuckers up there, they do nothing about it. What a shame. What a shame.
So I'm not exactly sure what he is talking about. People in the press do not run our elections, so I don't know why he would be looking to them to make any sort of changes to the election process. Obviously, Donald Trump is mad. And he forgets that way more than half of our states have voter ID laws, and many of them use paper ballots. And if you do have machines, oftentimes there is a paper ballot backup. So Donald Trump is just trying to sow a bit more distrust in our elections because I think he is afraid of losing. And the reason I think that, and the reason he is probably mad this weekend, is because a new Selzer poll came out showing Kamala Harris +3 in Iowa, and that's a pretty big deal coming out of Iowa. So let's go ahead and look at Donald Trump talking about this new poll that dropped.
So we got all this crap going on with the press and with the fake stuff and fake polls. And by the way, the polls are just as corrupt as some of the writers back there. They can make those polls sing. They can make them sing. They brag about it. I got a poll. I'm 10 points up in Iowa. One of my enemies just puts out a poll. I'm 3 down. Joni Ernst called me. Everyone's called me. They said, you're killing in Iowa. The farmers love me and I love them. But they came up. They just announced a fake poll. Hey, think of it. Right before the election that I'm 3 points down. I'm not down in Iowa. I got $28 billion for the farmers. $28 billion. Nobody else would have gotten 10 cents. Joe would sleep. Do you think he thinks about the farmers?
So obviously, if the poll doesn't show Donald Trump winning, it must be fraudulent, it must be rigged, it must be fake. He is just a pathetic man baby. And then he goes on to say that I got the farmers $28 billion. Donald Trump was the cause of the farmers needing bailouts. During his first term, Trump implemented tariffs, and then countries retaliated by implementing their own tariffs, which put it was a big problem for farmers exporting their goods, and so they needed a bailout. Donald Trump ended up providing $28 billion of bailout due to a problem that he caused. So you don't get to set the fire and then get praise when you put it out. It just doesn't make any sense. Let's go ahead and move on to Donald Trump again, preemptively pushing these election fraud claims.
But they found, as I understand it, I mean, I don't know what's happened in the last day or so, but in Lancaster, they found 2,600 ballots, all done by the same hand. In other words, the same exact penmanship, the same hand, the same everything. It was all done by the same pen, the exact same pen. And then they go and they say, well, this is a conspiracy theorist. It's a terrible thing that's happened to our country.
Okay, so as you could probably guess, Donald Trump is lying to you. What he is referring to is, I think, 2,500 ballots that were found in, I think it was Lancaster, but I could be wrong on there. But it was in Pennsylvania. They found 2,500 voter registrations that had similarities to them. So these were not ballots that were already cast. These weren't ballots that were going towards this election. Donald Trump is just lying to you. And the systems that we have in place caught these similarities. I think 47 or 45 to 50% of the ballots ended up being verified and valid. I think 20+% were rejected for missing some information. And then I'm not exactly sure what happened to the other 20+%. But either way, Donald Trump is using these instances to try to sow doubt in our election systems, probably because he is afraid to lose. So no matter what happens on election day, Donald Trump will come out and likely claim that he is the winner of this election, and he's going to point at instances like these to prove his case. But these are all lies. The election fraud claims are just as false now as they were in 2020, and we just need to keep an eye on it and call it out every single time. He then goes on to sow more distrust in the election systems by ranting and raving about voter ID.
There's only one reason you don't want voter ID. There's only one reason, and that's to cheat. There is no other reason. There's no other reason. And they do cheat. Isn't this better than my speech? Yeah, because honestly, somebody's got to talk about it. They say, sir, I'd rather have you not talk about it. We have a certain network. Oh, if you even mention the fact that there's cheating in elections, they turn you off. I mean, this is supposed to be one of our brave, very brave networks. I won't mention which, but you can imagine.
So now he's going after Fox News for not pushing his election fraud claims. Obviously, Fox News is going to be very hesitant to do that because they had to pay $787 million for pushing election lies in 2020. Trump is obviously not happy that they aren't going along with his plan. And it's just a whole bunch of nonsense. Donald Trump is just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks. He is afraid of losing this election, and he should be. It's very, very close. But it's just so sad that we have a whole half of the country, Donald Trump being their leader, a little less than half the country, Donald Trump being their leader, just sowing all this doubt in our election systems, trying to make people distrust our government, our systems, our institutions, all because Donald Trump is a sore loser. It is pathetic. I cannot wait until the American people hand him a crushing defeat this year, and hopefully we will never have to see him again. One can wish, right? Let's go ahead and move on to this weird thing that Trump has continued to do at a few of his rallies. He keeps on talking about how he's a believer in genetics. It's just kind of weird.
You know, it's a little strange. I'm a pretty smart guy. I have genetic. Do you believe in genetics? I do, you know. Fast racehorses produce fast racehorses, whether you like it or not. And but I'm a very I believe in it, and like I'm smart. I tell the story. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He said brilliant. Well, probably brilliant, but no. And we do the weave, right? This is a weave today. They'll say, and this is a very important lesson because I'm trying to tell you what's happening with our country. It's going bad. And it can never get fixed because we're never going to get the right people in because of what they do with the elections. We're going to get a bunch of crooks and horrible people. And not dumb people, by the way, you know. She's a dumb person, but the party, but she's not going to run. She's a vessel. She's a vessel, and she's just a vessel.
So I don't know if you caught it. Donald Trump said, well, we're never going to get anybody in there because of what they do to the elections. He is terrified to death of losing this election. And let's not forget that Donald Trump is running to keep himself out of prison. I think he has a sentencing date very shortly after the election. So if he loses, there's a at least a non-zero probability that he is going to end up in jail. So it's really funny to see him melt down. The crowd is very low energy. Donald Trump himself is very low energy. And I don't think it bodes very well for him when he has to walk out onto the stage and say, oh, I'm a very smart guy and I do the weave. And Donald Trump is losing his mind. He is unfit for office. And hopefully the American people see that and deliver him a crushing blow tomorrow. Wouldn't it be so great? Let's go ahead and move on to Donald Trump fantasizing about a hypothetical assassin shooting through the press. This is kind of weird.
And I have a piece of glass over here, and I don't have a piece of glass there. And I have this piece of glass here, but all we have really over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind.
So obviously, this is disgusting. I don't know what's more disgusting, Donald Trump saying it or the whole crowd cheering it on. Obviously, having somebody come out there with a gun and then shoot the press, members of the press, would be terrible. And these people are laughing and cheering it on. I mean, these are the types of things people talk about when they say Donald Trump is a fascist or an authoritarian. Because he says stuff like this. The free press has a place in our democracy, and he is basically encouraging political violence against them. And he continues to do this for anybody he perceives as his political enemy or opponent or whatever. This has been an ongoing issue with Donald Trump, and I feel like it's just escalating the closer and closer we get to this election. He then goes on with these authoritarian ambitions by saying that, negative polls against him, they should just be illegal.
No, the polls, I'm telling you, you can make those suckers sing. You get the right pollster, you can do, and you really do inflict damage, when you do like this person from Iowa. Today, the election essentially is really, we're talking Turkey, comes out with a poll different from every other poll, because it wasn't even in question. It's really the opposite way. I'm way up. If you look at 3-4 months ago, Dan, I was losing states that now are walks, they're now walks, and I think you're gonna have that here. It's called suppression. They suppress, and it actually should be illegal because it's, in many ways, it's worse than the written word, which these guys do quite well, actually.
So this is just another common tactic from Trump. If anything is negative against him, it's rigged. If a story comes out and it's bad for Trump, it's fake. These are just the rantings and ravings of a lunatic. I think he is legitimately terrified of losing this election. I think he's legitimately terrified of possibly ending up in prison if he loses this election. So he is spending all this time at these rallies sowing doubt in our election systems, and he's going to continue to do so. And I can guarantee he will come out on election night and claim that he won, even if it's not looking like he is winning. So we need to be prepared for it, and we should call this out every single time. These claims and conspiracies are damaging to our institutions. If people do not trust that their vote is going to count, they might be less likely to go out there and vote. And that is just unacceptable in the United States of America. So, if you guys do not have a plan to vote, please go make a plan to vote. Many states offer same-day registration, so if you haven't registered already, check in with your state, see if you can do it on the same day, and then make a plan to vote. This could be the most important election that you participate in. So, I will leave it there. We have one more day until election, and hopefully the American people step up and offer a crushing defeat to Donald Trump. That is my goal. That is my hope. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Like I said, I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. If you want to see the only candidate that has an actual plan for the next administration of this country, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.